during this session. One of my main goals for you coming in today was obviously to get to know you a lot better and the circumstances around you coming into treatment in the first place. And um, it's definitely a lot. And I'm sorry that all of that happened to you. And one of my primary goals for the remainder of this session is to get a better idea of how I can best structure treatment so that I fit your safety needs, something that's very common for clients that experience traumas like you have. And I don't use that word loosely. I just want to be able to, just recognize the fact that you're certainly a survivor. And I really appreciate you coming in today. And I'm going to answer you some questions, or I'm going to give you some questions, excuse me. It's probably going to feel like an interview, and it's definitely different from what we've been doing up to this point. I think you've probably noticed that therapy up to right now has probably felt more so like a conversation. And this is probably one of the only times where it's going to feel like I'm answering, or excuse me, that I'm asking questions that require a specific answer. And it might be a little bit difficult for you. That's totally okay. I want you to take your time if you can, um, and answer to the best of your ability. How does that sound?
That's okay.
So the first question, have you ever wished you were dead or wished that you can go to sleep and not wake up?
Yeah, I guess I thought about it.
Have you ever thought, or have you ever actually had thoughts of killing yourself?
Like of actually doing it?
Right.
No.
You've never had those thoughts in your
I
lifetime?
mean, I've thought about it passively, but not about actually doing it.
Do you know what, maybe the last time that you had those thoughts, do you remember what they were like?
It was kind of like the first question you asked. It's just kind of like I just don't want to be here anymore.
Hmm. And I guess I want to be a little bit more specific when I say don't want to be here, because to a certain extent, I think most people have probably had those kinds of thoughts where, well, it'd be nice if I'd go to sleep and not wake up. So I want to be intentional when I say that, when I ask if you've ever had thoughts of actually killing yourself. Never. Um, let me see. So I guess I'll go back to the first question. So when you wish that you were dead, that doesn't necessarily mean that you would kill yourself.
Yeah, I guess it's like, yeah, there is a gap there as far as
Right. Hmm.
thought and then the actual thought process of planning and stuff like that.
So if you had to die, then how would it go down? If it's not you killing yourself, how would you die?
Doesn't matter. Just
Hmm.
as long as I'm not in control of that because yeah, I don't know. It's just not a thought path I've went all the way down.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. And I guess I'm curious how often these, I guess for the sake of the interview, we'll call them ideations. Do you know about how often they occur?
Um, Not nearly as often as they used to. Pretty rare at this point, but you know,
Would you say like once a year?
I guess
Hmm. And when you do have these thoughts, about how strong are they, would you say?
less and less strong as I get farther away from things that hurt me.
Explain. What do you mean when you say things that hurt you?
I just mean this main trauma that I've been through. You know, I'm out and I'm trying to heal, and so I do see a light at the end of the tunnel now, whereas before I didn't.
Yeah. And I like to be very transparent with my clients that sometimes, even though therapy is meant to help, sometimes it could bring up some emotions maybe that can be pretty intense that we might struggle to deal with. Um, would you say you're prepared more or less to be able to put yourself in a space where you might have to think about your trauma again?
Yeah,
Perfect. And when you have these ideations about how long do you last, I know that you said it's dependent on like your proximity, I guess, to some of the trauma that you've experienced, but about how long would you say it takes for those thoughts to go away?
maybe like it would just be like the night, or maybe like like one day.
Okay.
Just when stuff's like really, really rough and, you know,
Hmm. So what usually helps? Like, does anything help speed up the process?
what do you mean?
So like, let's say you are having one of those nights where you're feeling like you weren't, or you wish that you weren't alive or that you were dead. Some people like to watch TV. Some people like to reach out to a family member. Is there something that helps you?
I just go to sleep.
Okay. And usually by the time you wake up, like you said, they would have gone away.
Usually. But if I
Gotcha.
wake up and it hasn't gone away, I go back to sleep.
Mhm. Gotcha. And out of curiosity, have you ever known anyone that has ended their life?
Yes,
Who is it?
I've had friends in the past.
Gotcha.
No one
Uh,
really, really close to me, but close enough.
gotcha. And how did that impact you?
It was scary and sad.
Hmm. And but no, never any like immediate family members, would you say?
No.
Hmm. So what would you say are three things that keep you from, and I'm trying to think of how I can word this best. What are three things that kind of keep you from, let's say, actually pursuing wanting to be deaf? So what's keeping you from making your problem worse, for lack of a better word?
You know, just taking it day by day and getting further away from painful trauma and knowing that it can get better because it has.
Hmm. And
You
if
know,
you're in session, oh, excuse me, keep going.
no, go ahead.
So if you're in session and let's say the goal is maybe to try to put you uncomfortably close to some of your traumas, what would you do in the moment?
Get uncomfortable, probably get fidgety, cry. But I mean, I wouldn't run away or anything.
Gotcha. And that helps, correct?
Yeah.
So if we were, let's say, having a session and it was tough,
Mhm.
is there someone that you feel like you could trust that would help keep you safe after sessions?
Yeah.
Would you mind sharing?
My best friend, she's kind of been through some of the same stuff as me, and so we can lean on each other when it comes to that trauma.
That's cool. And is she someone you would feel comfortable reaching out to in the instance that maybe you start to feel like you don't want to be alive?
Yes.
That's awesome. Um, let me see. So we'll pause the video here and we'll transition into the PTSD one. How much more time do I have left? Oh, is that good? We're good? Oh, wow. Your trauma has affected you. Um, I have a much clearer idea of your background, the things that you've been through. And I kind of want to see, I guess, the real life impact it's had on your ability to just kind of, I guess, maybe live, if that's okay to say. Uh, everything that I ask you, I guess we can frame it within the time frame of like the last 30 days. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So would you say that you have experienced any kind of unwanted memories or maybe flashbacks related to some of the events you described?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Mhm.
How many times would you say that happens maybe within the last 30 days, within the 30-day period?
Maybe twice.
Twice? Okay. And when you have these dreams, is there any kind of like recurring themes or messages or maybe like content?
No, I don't remember.
That's okay. That's okay. Um, do these kind of dreams or maybe memories or flashback ever occur while you're awake?
Maybe if I'm like in a place and like it reminds me of something traumatizing or yeah.
Okay. And how do you usually feel when this happens?
Panicky.
Panicky. And maybe this is a bit of a weird way of asking this question, but are there any moments where, let's say you haven't had a flashback maybe, but you feel a little bit panicky?
Mhm.
Have you ever felt like certain memories or I guess moments in your life kind of flash in your memory when you feel panicky?
No, my mind goes blank when I'm feeling panicky.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. And let me see. Do you ever feel, or do you ever like kind of catch yourself doing things that would um kind of keep you away from